Four, three, two, one, and we are live. Hi Jay,
Hello, Ankur.
how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Saturday fun.
Oh,
It's
so
always good to relax in the house and meeting new friends. So, you're from Pune itself, right? So that's nice. We can probably catch up, later, or on the next show we'll try to do it live, face to face.
yeah, sure. Even I'm staying in Pune for last 1 year. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. That's
yeah,
nice. So we can party together. That's good.
yeah,
So one more
yeah,
friend I
that's
can
true.
party with. It's absolutely fine. Yep.
Yeah,
So I'll just quickly introduce myself. I know we had a small trial session, unfortunately a bit late due to busy schedules we have. I think more of busy schedule for myself. My side it was more of coordination. So it's difficult
no
to
problem.
find the time.
No
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. Monday to Friday, it's busy for everyone. I understand.
Yeah, a lot of traveling. So I cycle to
Yeah.
work. Yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
almost cycle 20 kilometers to work, to
Oh,
Phoenix and Hadapsar back, right? So it's a bit 20-kilometer ride back and forth. So it's fun.
oh.
I love cycling. I love to stay fit because at the end we need to be fit, right?
Right. So, I mean, 20 kilometers, so no need for you to go to gym also, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's
You were
kind
saying
of
that you
exercise.
wanted to. Yeah, I know you were saying you want to go to the gym after this, and I was thinking of
Yeah.
telling you, man, every day is a gym for me. Uh, you know, uh,
Okay. Yeah.
so I try to do that because see, staying healthy is important no matter how much
Mm,
we do work and whatever we do. If you're not healthy, if you're not taking care of our body and mind and soul, then what's the point, right? We won't be able to sustain that, and sustainability is pretty much everything. So let me give you a quick short introduction about myself. I
mm,
have been in this industry almost for 25 years. I've been started my journey when I was in computer learning computer classes. I was doing assembly level programming,
mm,
and then I moved to contact center where I was as a billing agent. And from there, I started looking at things, what was going on, and then helped automate a few of the mundane tasks back in to 2001.
mm,
And from that point onwards, I got aligned with scripting technology and the various aspects of the telecom and IT industry, and that fascinated me a lot. I moved from there to the IT team, and then from
mm,
there tried to build different intranet and other automation system, and been part of
mm,
various technologies for the last 20 years,
mm.
telecom products, services. And I was explaining you on the phone about layer 7 routing that I'm doing, right, for the last few
Right. Yeah.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much myself, my quick journey, and that's it. And the show is about you. So why don't you introduce
Yeah.
yourself to my audience who are live and who gonna watch this later, on the recorded session. So the stage is yours, Jay. Please introduce yourself and to my audience.
Sure, and good to know about yourself, your previous experience. So, in my case, I mean, I started working on Dell and HP hardware side of things. Then I moved to Windows and Linux certificates, and that was, very typical of on-premises environment.
Right.
So, but then for last 7 years, I moved to technology. So started working on Azure and GCP. Alongside with that, I have experience on, automation also, PowerShell scripting, because sometimes when you start working on environment, you need to automate tasks. So PowerShell is one of those things. And recently, I worked on Terraform, that is the automation tool, IAC. infrastructure as code. So if you have to deploy services either in cloud or on premises, you need some automation tools. So Terraform is one of the powerful tools actually. So this is all about my experience. Recently, I was involved in designing and planning and implementation of services in GCP. So, so today's podcast, if you say it's specific to GCP, then it's very much inclined to my last and recent experience. So this is all about my experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful experience. I've been, going through your post, and it never ends. The kind of new learning that you are doing, the new certifications, the GCP cloud, and solution
Yeah,
architect, and every post I
yeah,
read, it's almost like a new
yeah,
dimension you're trying to get into, right? And that's pretty good.
yeah,
Learning is important and should always keep on happening, right? Because there is no
right.
fun without it. You know, we always learn new things, whether it is
Mm,
GCP, Azure, Amazon, or any other cloud, right? Public cloud is there. I've been into hybrid cloud, private cloud. So the everything has its pros and cons. So
mm,
we're going to talk something about GCP, majorly GCP. Other other things we can definitely
mhm,
add. There is no specific restrictions, right? So why don't you talk about a few of the GCP certificates? Sorry, the certificates that you have done recently around GCP and cloud. You can pick anyone that you recall recently, and just talk about it so that anyone starting their journey. I know in our
mhm.
trial you talked about few of the platforms that they can use for doing labs, right? And which is important because not everyone would be able to just get onto a GCP, buy the services and play with it and use their card, right? So, is there any guidance you can give to myself and to others, in the audience? I think that will definitely help. The different certificates you did or any training patterns that can help them.
Yeah, sure, definitely. To start learning any technology, first of all, you should have some sort of interest towards that technology. So being from on-premises environment, I used to think maybe there is some environment where I can quickly configure services, without waiting for approval or getting hardware. So fortunately, cloud is something like API driven, you can quickly services. I mean, if you need to start a company from scratch, you can in 1 or 2 days, you can, build the environment, so it's very fast. So now the question for how to start for beginners, so it's like there are a lot of resources available on internet. So specifically GCP, there is Quick Lab. So if you get subscription or if your company has subscription for that thing, you can start creating your account and working deploying services. You can understand a lot of things from Quick Labs. Documentation is there. Udemy has a lot of courses available for both GCP and Azure. So recently I did some certificate, it was, I mean, my last experience was on GCP. So I did some certificates on GCP, like cloud architect and engineering. So I was given some sort of training also from my company itself. They are partners for Google Cloud. So that is
Hmm.
one of the advantages. There were
Yeah,
some
that's
trainings.
that really helps, right?
Yeah,
Some kind
yeah,
of a
yeah,
head
yeah,
start and training,
yeah,
so that
yeah.
you can get along
Mm.
and practice some
Right,
basic stuffs. Yeah.
right, right. So and besides that, as I mentioned, Quick Labs is one of the, I would say, very powerful platforms. If you have interest and time, you can start working on it. So because most of the times what happens, you learn things through training, through documentation, but then you lack hands-on experience.
Yeah,
So Quick Lab is compensating that aspect of understanding. So a lot of hands-on things are available. So I did a
that
lot
really
of
helps. Yeah.
that really helps actually, and I did a lot of labs. I participated in one of the challenge labs also. That is also through Quick Labs. So what they ask you to go through a course structure, and four labs they're gonna provide you instruction, and fifth you're gonna do on your own without getting instruction from the Google. So I did twice actually, and I was given some digital certificates also for that, cloud enthusiast or something like that. So
Nice,
that
nice. And
is,
that's
yeah.
really
So
helpful.
yeah, that's really
Uh,
helpful in your day-to-day tasks. And moreover, I was involved in cloud activities, so I was involved in deploying virtual machines and designing solutions. So for me, it's easy, but for beginners, this is the path actually to follow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, hands-on
Yeah.
definitely helps because I have
Mhm.
tried when I was doing that DCP, right? The VMware
Mhm.
Certified Professional
Mhm.
Certification, the
Mhm.
HAL, right? Hands-on lab.
Yeah.
That helps so much that so that you are actually trying on things without breaking stuff, right? And
Right. Right. Right.
you're
Right.
it's almost like you're in the system, and that is so useful because see, at least what I believe in myself, the kind of person I am, right? I don't go always 100% on the theory. Definitely, theory is important, but
Mhm.
actually, going in the field and doing stuff that makes a difference, right? That's the actual
Yeah.
learning, and these hands-on lab definitely helps us, achieve that to a greater level.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
and
Right. Yeah.
I love scripting as well. So it's also all fun, right?
Mhm.
If you can't script it, rather not do it because if you can have some way of automating mundane tasks, we need to have that always in progress. You should never lose on business process automation is what I always feel. It's so important, right?
It is important, and one good things about GCP or any other cloud, I would say I would give example of GCP because what happens when you start working on GCP, and if you have to automate things, either you have to set up environment like installing Visual Studio Code, then installing plugin of PowerShell or any language, Python. So, but in GCP they have browser based capability where you can start interacting with Cloud Shell, and every plugins is already installed, so need not to worry about creating your infrastructure central management kind of environment so that you can interact with that. So it's already inbuilt in GCP, shell. So that is one,
Okay.
useful aspect. So you can start working on it. If you know Python, you can start working on Python. If you know Terraform, you can start working on Terraform. So these tools are pre-built and installed. No need to worry
Hmm.
about latest version and all those conflicts actually. So that is also useful.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
fun part, right? With that, if you're working
that's a
on
fun part.
Python
Yeah,
or
yeah,
NPM, those things, the
yeah,
version controlling and those things, it takes you for a
yeah.
toss. So if that's taken
Hmm.
care, that's really good,
Hmm.
I feel.
Yeah, yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
it's very
So
difficult.
it's sometimes very kind of a daunting is to start with where to start actually, then you have
Yeah,
to prepare the whole environment, so it can be resistance for many lazy people, I would say, but
yeah,
now there is no no excuse actually. So you have environment ready, you just need subscription. And I mean, another thing people can do, they can get free tier subscription also. It's just they deduct 2 rupees or something, and they give you some 3 months or 6 months services free. So that is again one of the better way of learning things.
yeah.
So,
No, I
yeah,
would
yeah.
definitely advise, and I think that's what you are also doing is get some basic subscription, get
Mm,
your hands on because
mm,
this is the way of the future,
mm,
right? Pretty much everybody wants to have a quick head start,
mm,
and that's
mm.
so important because without that head start, right, it's very difficult nowadays. Because you can't just buy a 30 lakh EXXI server and build VMs. That's not gonna happen, right? It's very
And
expensive.
those were the days. Actually, even I used to work on VMware long time back. So
Uh-huh.
I was always thinking, let me buy ESXi servers and all those stuff. But then again, VMware at that point of started HOL, hands-on lab, which you
Uh-huh.
discussed about.
Yeah,
So that
correct.
is one of the ways to learn things. And now, though, there is no need for buying hardware. All you need is just a good browser and then start working on it. Everything is browser based. Yeah,
Correct,
that is
correct.
the advantage of cloud. It has become API driven now.
Yeah, the endpoints and API
So
that really gives you a very quick head start.
mm,
and so that you can quickly get on, get the things done, and very quickly, right?
yeah.
But definitely the knowledge has to there. So no matter how
Mm,
fast you get the head start, you should never skip on the knowledge. Like you are doing certifications and keep learning. I also advise people that do not miss the basic knowledge part, right? Even if you're on the cloud, you're on the seventh layer of OSI. Make sure you understand every layer, right? So that APST, NDP, it's important, right? Application
yeah,
layer,
yeah,
network
yeah,
layer,
yeah,
SSL.
yeah.
So don't miss out on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, these fundamentals are still valid, if you talk about load balancers, they
Correct.
are load
Yeah.
balancers on transport and UDP layer, layer 4, and then layer
Correct.
7 also. So your
Correct.
Cisco fundamentals still hold good there also. So
Correct.
that will
Correct.
always remain.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember my
yeah.
diploma book of Tannenbaum, right? We talk about the application layer, presentation layer,
Right,
channel layer,
right, yeah,
transport layer.
yeah,
Those things are there. And so,
yeah,
as you mentioned, load balancer. You can do load
yeah,
balancing now on so many aspects and so many
mm,
ways. You can
right,
process the
yeah,
traffic. You can think about the
yeah,
session
yeah.
IDs, how it is managed.
Uh,
It's wonderful, right? Great,
and I
man.
mean,
But do you want to talk about,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, do you want to talk about some GCP use cases and few from your experiences that you would have seen?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on customer requirement. So there are customers who are only interested in saving their data in cloud. So we have cloud storage kind of service in GCP
Mm-hmm.
where they can store data depending on their business need. Let's say they want to access data frequently, they can store in a standard layer. It's gonna give them cost benefit also. And if they want to store rarely access data, then it can be stored in archive layer. So cloud storage is the solution for storing your unstructured data like images, videos, and dividing into tiers gives you cost benefit actually. So
Yeah,
that is one of the solution, one of the use cases, and I think that can be the starting journey for any enterprise also because data is something everyone is producing, so they have to store it for a minimum 5 or 10 years of period of time due to different compliance. So that is one of the solutions. And then let's say there is a startup who wants to, let's say, e-commerce company, and they want to deploy their application on virtual machines. So Compute Engine is the solution, and we have both Windows and Linux flavors available. And at the same time, we have different versions of databases also. So your three-tier architecture can be very easily, created in cloud, whether it's GCP or Azure, if you have prior knowledge or if you have some, experience. So it can be very easily done. So these are the two most use cases. But there is one more actually I wanted to discuss. Nowadays, it's a trend of machine learning and people are after AI and machine learning. A lot of new innovations are happening.
yeah, yeah,
So but not all people are trained on machine learning models. So there are services where you need very less experience of machine learning. So what you need is just transfer the data to somewhere in cloud, and there are services like AutoML or BigQuery where you can get insight, powerful insight of out of that data. So these two services are also very much in use. So how it happens, like people deploy a solution, they use Cloud PubSub as an ingestion point, then data flow for extraction, transformation, and load, and BigQuery for the ultimate storing and analysis of data. This is I'm talking about GCP. Similar solutions are available in Azure also. So this is
yeah.
how.
Azure, I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah, so
yeah,
you
yeah,
take
yeah,
ingest the data, use either one
yeah,
lake, put in the data lake, right, and then
yeah,
use
yeah, yeah,
ETL, transform it,
yeah,
search it,
yeah, yeah,
make it available. So that's your
yeah,
Azure ML,
yeah.
right? That does that.
Sure.
You can use generative AI and you can convert
Yeah.
it to vector databases, do searches, use
Mm,
RAG
mm,
pipelines, right? So a lot of things we can do on
mm.
Azure.
Yeah,
Google has your
yeah,
Vertex AI, right?
yeah,
Amazon has Bedrock. These are all managed
yeah,
services. People can do their own MongoDB and other
Right, yeah.
AI, OpenAI, and others subscriptions, and
Yeah.
do their unmanaged design also. So there are
Mhm.
many options, and you're right. AI is the
Yeah.
future just because of I think that's two major advantages. One is that word to vector conversion and the natural language, right? That pretty much gives
Mhm.
it a very headstrong start. So that's
Mm.
the reason I also love that too much. You know,
Right.
it gives
So
it
the reason
very
I mention about, yeah, yeah, you're right. The reason I mention about BigQuery is that, it has got the capability to, you know, start machine learning models using, SQL queries. So out of your SQL queries, you can get a lot of insights. So no need to learn a new technology. So your data is in BigQuery, and if you are an SQL person, you can run some queries and get some insight out of that data. That's helpful for modeling and all those stuff. So
right,
it's a latest
right,
trend actually. So cloud has made it very simple for each and every business requirement. It's all that the importance lies in matching or mapping your business requirement into the right technical solutions. Because
right.
for a single business requirement, there are n number of solutions in cloud. So sometimes, if you want to look for cloud cost benefit also, so you have to carefully analyze your requirements and match with your technical solutions. So that is also
Correct.
important for any enterprise.
The cost and the speed
Yeah.
and the region availability, because nowadays not every
Yeah.
region has those service, right? You may not have a particular service running on a particular region, either due to compliance, availability, a lot of those
Mm,
factors. That's why awareness is much important, and that's why people like you who help in the entire solution designing is very key,
mm,
because without that aspect, you may design a service, and some region may not experience the full
right.
benefit of it, and some may not, right? For some reason it might be slow, because the service is not there,
Yeah.
so it has to go travel all the way 30, 40 milliseconds
Mm,
more to get that
mm.
data. It's not worth the effort, right? So many things are
Yes. Right.
there.
So that's why your documentation comes into, has a lot of importance. You have to document each and everything and then, map into right technical solutions.
Correct. And
Yeah.
along with documentation, I heard some companies, right, they are also building their own small individual awareness model for their organizations. So, so that any questions or queries that newcomers have within the organization, is the bot able to answer it because it's been fed with all those information, right? So
That's the
that kind of
latest
helps.
trend where they are customizing LLMs actually based on their
Correct,
need
correct,
actually. So that is also there.
correct.
And
Yeah, and
moreover,
customizing, yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just saying customizing LLM is definitely helping organization, but fine tuning LLMs are very expensive. You need maybe like a NVIDIA H200 chip, right, which has a lot of parallel compute capabilities, or some edge AI devices which they are offering right now. But I've seen
Mhm.
many people, they rely on RAG for their quick head start, just so that the context is available. The LLM knows the
Mhm.
grammar, and it can just mix and match and give you the data, translate it, transcribe it. A lot of things it can do, right? So that gives you a quick
Mhm.
start in a very cheaper fashion. Otherwise, if you start fine tuning and recreating model from scratch, it's very expensive, time consuming, and you need experts, right? Not everybody knows CNN, ML, the ReLU
Right,
curve, and
right.
those aspects. It's not an easy thing to find, and may not be even required, right? You can't spend 3 months to just get a head start when you can use RAG and just get 3 days and get a head start, right? So the difference is too huge.
I understand. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is there. Yeah.
good. Anything else you want to add up? The different. I'm sure you might have seen few more use cases. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be GCP. If any other technologies you have seen, you can definitely add.
Sure. I mean, since we talked about automation, so automation is needed. Like, if we have to set up environment, we need to store some template and blueprint of that thing also, so that in future if somebody else is going to deploy, they can utilize that thing. So since we have spoken about IAC, infrastructure code, so Terraform is one of those things. So it's very simple language. It's not that kind of, object-oriented programming thing. It's like they have, syntax in HashiCorp configuration language. So it's a little simpler to compare to other full-fledged languages. So if you spend around 10-15 days time, you can start building and creating your own template. And that's going to help you actually, because sometimes what happens, if you look at the console, it's going to be overwhelming sometimes because a lot of settings and options are there. But you have a specific thing in mind. Let's say I want to deploy one virtual machine. So you will focus on creating those templates and the specific requirements and services settings as per your business need. So Terraform gonna help you a lot if you have to deploy services in cloud. Because if you're using cloud, you have to deploy service. That's why you're using cloud. And how you deploy this
Yeah,
thing? Either manually or by some automation tool. And the automation tool, which is very well platform agnostic, is Terraform. So let's say if you have both GCP, Azure, and AWS also. So why to spend on cloud native tool, because that's gonna be, yeah, training overhead and a skilled person need for each and a specific platform. So once you learn Terraform, you can deploy either on VMware or GCP, Azure, and AWS. So they have plugins available in HashiCorp site. You just need some configuration language experience, and you can start writing your scripts and templates, and it's gonna make your deployment more pleasurable and enjoyable and very convenient. So that is one thing I wanted to bring. As along with cloud, you should know at least one IAC. I think in
yeah,
nowadays they are coming up with some new platforms, some new technology also. That name is not coming to me, but I think it's Plunomi or something, which is based on
okay,
Python. So
okay.
I've not used that, but it's there actually. So it's
For
getting
infrastructure as
moment.
a code, you're saying.
Yeah, for instance, yeah,
Okay,
some Plumi, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but something like that. But it's based on
okay,
Python, so that's a new tool in the market actually.
okay.
But
No, that's
Terraform is
important.
robust, powerful,
Yeah,
and stable. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And that helps a lot because doing infrastructure as a code has always been very important. As you said about PowerShell. So when we were using VMware, right, we used to
Mhm.
use the vSphere API, connect to the vSphere module and the vSphere server, and then use
Mhm.
create VM, the IP and the parameters, and create the VM or create VM from OVA, right? Once it is
Mhm.
created, connect to it, assign IP, then use WinRM or something to connect to that system if it is
Mhm.
Windows, right? And then install
Mhm.
services. So that was anyway happening. We used to do it in Ansible, then use Jenkins to
I,
trigger Ansible,
yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
automation definitely is the key. Because
Mhm.
if you are doing it one time, right? Imagine if you are doing it 1,000 times. Why do you want to do the same thing again and again? That's so mundane,
All
right?
right.
So
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So automation definitely is very important. You should not skip any part of it. But I would just add one point. I think you mentioned something about cloud native learning, which is expensive, time consuming. But I just feel that even if you know one infrastructure as a code, right? On your free time, I think people should learn or try to get some awareness of the cloud native platform as well, because sometimes when you know those platforms, right, you can understand if there is a error, if there is some problem, you may be able to figure out much easier than just not knowing them. So that is just something I want to add, if that makes sense, right? So that you are slowly becoming also aware of cloud native platforms, and how maybe because see HashiCorp or Terraform, they are using the cloud native platforms, right? So they are aware of it. So, and you're using configuration tools to configure it, and then those are talking to cloud native platforms. So you may not need it now, but in future, in your spare time, always try to add some knowledge to your kitty, so that slowly you're also becoming aware of every cloud native platform. So maybe you are able to, contribute. Maybe in future, if there is some issue, or if you do directly, you can do that. It's just my thought, is what I feel. What do you think about it?
I think backup is always welcome, actually. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you
It's
take,
the backup thing, correct? Yeah.
yeah, backup. So,
Uh,
if you take, let's say in Azure, we have ARM templates, and
right.
in GCP cloud formation kind of things we have. So,
Mhm.
but then what happens sometimes if customer is having multiple subscription on different
Mhm.
clouds? So
Mhm.
in order to make process simple and streamlined, consistent across different uh, organizations and departments, they prefer using single tool. So for
Correct.
Terraform, as I say, for building environment, and Ansible after, once environment is built, you have to configure that environment. So these are two
Okay.
powerful things, free also and very easy to use also. But then sometime, I mean, backup, as I mentioned, is always recommended. Sometimes, God knows if that thing is not working, then yeah, definitely we can resort to cloud native tools. But in my case, I have mainly inclined myself towards learning one tool, master it, and since it's serving the purpose actually, so why to
Yeah.
confuse our mind, So that
No, no,
is
I
what
agree.
I think. But then backup is always there, and
Yeah.
it's
No, I totally
sometimes
agree.
you
Yeah.
need that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. No.
somehow, I mean, like say, if you are a Python person, then we have Python libraries also. You can deploy environment using Python also. But Terraform has got some other benefits, like it can store the state of your infrastructure. So you know what is
Oh,
already deployed, and so that is also state management is one of the important aspect of
yeah, that's a good one. State
yeah, yeah,
management.
yeah,
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 I
yeah.
heard about that,
So
and that's pretty
yeah, yeah,
impressive
yeah,
what it does.
yeah. So
It's like
whatever
that
you have,
PowerShell.
yeah, yeah. It's like a file, actually, state file. So let's
Correct.
say you deploy 10 virtual machines. So that's a place where everything is recorded. So you know what is there. So that is also very important for drift management and
Right.
maintaining what is deployed in your infrastructure. So that is additional thing Terraform is providing. So
Yeah.
besides deploying your, so
Yeah.
that is
Good.
not
Good knowing
available.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if it is available in cloud native tools. So I have not used much, but so since I saw Terraform, I thought, yeah, it's simple and I can learn
Yeah.
it,
No.
and I learned it, and
Absolutely.
yeah, so I and a lot of uh, public modules are available on Terraform.io. So people, once they deploy things, they feel like publishing those modules for the sake of convenience of other people. So you can download that thing and you can start working on it. Even I published few modules in HashiCorp site
Oh,
actually.
nice. You want to
Yeah, so
probably
I have
put that
around four.
link?
Yeah, yeah, I will. So 4, 5 modules I published, and I see one day I was just searching, and I see there were serious downloads, or 1,000 and 2,000
Wow.
downloads. So
Yeah. I'm
so
gonna download
it's.
one. That's nice.
I will share you
Yeah.
the
That.
link. Yeah. So
Yeah, just share me the link. It's very
yeah,
exciting to know, because these
yeah,
things help the community as well. And
yeah, yeah,
if you have spent maybe
yeah.
hours trying to figure
Mm,
out something, and if somebody can do that in few minutes, why not, right? That's the
yeah.
whole idea.
Yeah.
We are
That's a
at the end,
yeah,
yeah, at the end, helping each other out, so that, and that's the whole point of a public community
mm,
or something that's available.
right. Yeah, yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the reason it is available, right? And that's the reason we like it, because not only we can contribute, but the people who are contributing, we can use that without much
Right,
concerns, or a lot of
right.
licenses and issues, and keep moving faster, right? That's the
Yeah,
whole point. So that
yeah.
you spend 15 hours in something, I spend 15 minutes in that thing,
Mm,
and the other
right,
person
right.
spend 15 seconds, right? And
Yeah,
that's how
right.
things will improve, and that's how we'll achieve bigger things, right? Otherwise we'll never
Yeah,
be able to achieve bigger things in life. We'll be just stuck with a lot of things that's always slower and bigger and complicated, and like that. It'll be complex. Nice, man. It's good
yeah. I
knowing
mean,
that.
yeah. I mean, this is how society should be designed and should work. It's not
Hmm.
in. with respect to Terraform, it's with respect to a lot many other aspects of human
Society
life
and human
actually.
nature.
Yeah,
Correct, and that's the
so
reason we
it should
love
be.
these platforms, and you
Hmm.
know, we like to contribute and be part of it, right? I was saying PowerShell desired state configuration. That also I loved
Hmm.
when I used it,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
you're not just saying this is what you want to do. You're saying this is what where I want to get to, right? So
Similar kind of, yeah, similar kind of thing in Terraform also. It's like, you just asking them, I want this thing. So this is how it Terraform also works. So,
right, right. Now, I was using this Jenkins Ansible automation, and we had this script where we used to create a VM from an OVA, and it was breaking, right? So many people have tried it, they were facing problems. So I looked at it, and I found out that in the Groovy script, right, it was not passing a particular parameter, and the
mm,
OVA had changed. It had introduced a new parameter which was not considered in the deployment. So when you know native things and you know things in depth, it helps you in
mm,
troubleshooting. And that was my whole
right. Yeah.
intention of knowing the native platform. But yes, if you're using something on a higher level, make sure you use the full advantage of that. Like you said, about it understands state, it can manage drift. That's so
Mm,
important, because that's the
right.
reason we are using this platform. And knowing that is important. You can't just use it because it's not that ki Jay ne use kiya to main use karunga, right? That should
Mm,
not be the case. While that can be the case, you're such a lovely person, I would love to do
mm,
that. But you should always understand why you're using something and what is the value it is providing, right? And in-depth knowledge always helps, right? I've seen that when I was using and I did a hackathon on generative AI using prompt engineering, because I understood the way it was retrieving data from the vector databases, the cosine similarity formula it used, the dot product and
mm,
magnitude. I understood why it is hallucinating, how I can frame my data correctly, what I need to do for a proper feature engineering. So in-depth knowledge always helps. you know you should never skip a chance of not knowing something, but you should also not skip a chance of not starting something very quickly, right? You should always
right.
have that
Yeah.
quick head start. You know, you
Mm,
can't just say, if I give you a project or you give me a project and I'll say, okay, I'll think about it for 2 months. It doesn't work that way today, right? In today day and age, you should be able to deliver things almost overnight, almost by a weekend, because everyone is doing it, right? Because I was speaking to someone from Russia, and she was saying that she was working almost 16 to 18 hours a day, right? Someone from Vietnam, they're working 14 hours a day. So things, people in different parts of the country, they are putting in so much effort, of innovative thought, of doing so much rigorously, that we don't have an option to not learn something, right? That new learning capability should always be there. That is your cognitive intelligence. You should never lose that.
that is where your interest counts actually. Sometimes what happens, your interest fades away over a period of time. So let's say you are working on something and then you think now it's done, yeah, I will switch over to different technology. So that also happens. But
Correct.
especially cloud is something, it provides a lot of services actually. So it's not
Hmm.
your deploying your virtual machines. Now they have services for securing your environment. So no need to think about additional security. You have options for storing your data. And as we discussed about machine learning and algo, all those stuff, do you have services also? So I think it's a vast thing actually. And if you're interested, you will keep learning out of that thing. So that interest
Yeah.
should be maintained actually. That is the foremost thing.
हाँ, but वो interest जगाना पड़ता है, because sometimes you may not have interest, right? Because if you don't know something, I was talking to, I think yesterday we had a discussion in the office about different foods people like, right? Somebody may like potato, onion, or brinjal or something like that, right? It was also about veg and non-veg, but I don't want to include that now. But the idea was, if you have not tried something, you would not know about it, right? So unless you try something new, maybe for a small bit, you know. So unless you do that, you will not understand its importance, its significance, and what value it can bring to you. Somebody was asking me about, how should I start my automation journey? I'm like, automate a smallest task, right? You create folders in your computer. He said yes. So I said, okay, try to automate that. Do use a script and see if you can create a folder using mkdir command, create a batch file. If you can achieve that, do that in PowerShell. If you can achieve that, do that in Ansible. If you can achieve that, now use a Jenkins Groovy script to trigger that. If you can achieve that, use an endpoint to trigger Jenkins, which triggers Ansible and which triggers PowerShell. So just start your journey, right? You may never know how important it is, and what significant value it can give you, right? And then slowly you start developing interest, right? It's like love marriage nahi hai to arrange marriage, but you need to start that. But आप start ही नहीं करोगे तो वो कैसे होगा, right? Because if you're a person who
Right.
can yep,
Right. So that is why I mean, one of the very important thing is that first we think and then we take time to act actually, right? So that time duration, is sometimes becomes so long because of the dependencies. Let's say I want to learn
correct,
automation, okay? And I've decided, okay, I'm interested in automation. Now you discuss with someone, okay, what should I do to start automation? He will say, okay, you have a laptop? Yes, I have. Install this, do this, install this version, do this. So your interest might fade away because of a lot of dependency. What I'm doing, yeah,
correct,
I'm just. But now, if you are in cloud, go to cloud browser, open the shell, and you have everything installed. As I mentioned, Python, Terraform. What do you need to do?
correct.
Just focus on one thing that I need to learn this language, and I have my underlying environment already set up. So I need not to worry and struggle for that. So that is where your interest fades away because I have seen even I have experienced. Okay, this thing is not matching. This version is not compatible with this thing. So it becomes irritating sometimes. Where to find, how to find. So those things are also crucial. I mean specific
Yeah, it
to
is.
cloud thing. Yeah. So but then there are other aspects of life where people struggle and ultimately they achieve
Yeah.
huge success. So,
And
but
this whole Docker container thing, that is the why it exists, right? I remember when it
right,
started, it was solving only one purpose, the dependency problem. Because
right,
I used to develop something on my laptop or my computer, it
mm,
never used to run on my client's computer, right? And he's like,
right,
अरे
right.
उसके पास वो DLL का वो वर्जन नहीं है, उसका ये नहीं है, उसका वो
वो
नहीं है. अरे
वो बहुत ही इरिटेटिंग होता था वो और वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग आई मीन
I
वेरी
know,
फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग आल्सो
I was
वर्जन
doing that
mismatch
whole,
thing. Yeah, I mean,
correct.
I struggled that kind of thing when I was working on VMware and upgrading the environment. Oh, this NSX version doesn't support this thing, this. So that is this problems,
Ah,
cloud is completely, or I would say 70-80% have resolved. So now your
eliminated, right?
intention is to, yeah, yeah. So not to,
Because
you
it
need
is
not to worry
difficult to
about
think.
under. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it is difficult to think through a lot of things because
yeah,
client के version में कौन सा system है. You can say that it's a poor planning, people missed out, but yes, it's human, right? People are gonna miss out on few things, right? Your idea is to make things foolproof, right?
right, yeah,
So
yeah.
solution architecture में ये भी एक baseline है. You need to understand where your solution will be, right? Right from
Mm,
30,000 feet view where you see, okay, your server is there that's gonna be connected to a DMZ zone that will have a load balancer, and then it will connect to another secure zone with, within the DMZ it will have the firewall, which will be an external firewall. It's gonna go out to the cloud, right? That's your high end 30,000 feet view. But when you go down, you should know which protocol is happening, how that particular packet will flow, where it will go and what will be the impact if we lose few packets, right? So right from protocol level to your solution, you should know everything. And that's a good solution design, and you should know this better than me, enterprise architecture. That's how things work, right? Otherwise, you
right,
have
yeah.
latency, jitter, and especially with voice and media. The way we are talking, right? So it's never going to happen if you don't think about this too, right? Concurrency, latency, these are so important
Mm.
aspects, right?
Yeah, it sounds trivial. I mean, networking in 2025, it sounds trivial, yeah. But still, people say I have network issue. The way we started our podcast, we were
Yeah, I
having
know.
some latency. I mean, we are 2025 and we say we are on 5G, 5 generation network. Still, we have latency. So that thing
Correct.
will still persist for some more years.
Because
Fortunately,
need बढ़
one
गई
day
है.
it will be resolved. Right? Yeah.
Need बढ़ गई है because see पहले
Mm.
I remember videos were 144 KB, right? Now it is like 800, 720, 1024, 4K, 8K, right? Now
Right.
we'll have
Yeah.
soon, I'm sure we'll have 3D podcast, right? And
Maybe.
no matter
Yeah.
there's so much we can think to, we can use because I'm almost about to get a Vision Pro. We can talk like almost somebody is face to face. So
Right.
there's so many things
Yeah.
happening, and they imagine the kind of data it's gonna take. When I started my PhD in 2017, I remember the first topic I wanted to do was data compression because nobody was interested in doing data compression that time, right? Everybody wanted to do machine learning and AI. That's the reason I used sentiment analysis as one of my topic. But everybody wants to get into that. I wasn't even getting a good guide for data compression. But all I wanted to do was data compression because there's so much data that's going to be generated. You need a way to compress it more, right? But now there is a limit. You cannot compress more than a particular percentage, right? A binary data, you
Mm.
can't compress it beyond a certain point. It's not going to happen, right? So what's the solution? And that's what I was also trying to figure out back then. And with maybe with quantum computing, we are able to figure out with the new circuit that it can create. Maybe there is a way, but we don't know, right? So data is so important and it needs to be compressed and streamlined and it has to be secure also, right? Because what I'm hearing is now when all the digital certificates and banking and important financial data, they are safe now. But you don't know if somebody is capturing that packet and just waiting for a good quantum computer to arrive and crack it, right? So it has to be future
That
safe as well, right? The governance, not only the existing governance, the future governance is also important.
that is, yeah, one of the resistances for many, enterprises to migrate to cloud. I mean, security is one of the
Yeah,
concerns. And even though major cloud vendors they shout very loudly that we are the secure cloud, still people are very, reluctant of moving their data to cloud. Fortunately, we have services like, Cloud KMS where they can use their own encryption keys instead of
correct.
using cloud's key. So that provides additional layer of security. Then there are services like Cloud Security Center in GCP where they can assess the score of security posture score, vulnerabilities, and all those stuff. So, I mean, if there is a problem, we have solution. And if we don't have, proper solution in future, it will be there. So that's how
Yeah,
cloud is evolving. Yeah. So depending on person's problem issues, that's how they are evolving cloud, right? But
yeah. No, security posture
yeah.
is important. Having a good
Mm.
security posture of your solution
Mm.
is definitely required. But what
Right.
I
Yeah.
feel is you should always have a future security posture concept where you are able to
Mm.
anticipate at least the near future, right? Future, I mean, far future, nobody can. Otherwise, we'll all be gods, right? So,
Right.
we cannot predict a far future, but at least near future, what we can foresee, right? That if quantum is very near, make sure the certificates are quantum safe, right? Otherwise,
Mhm.
these are encryptions, prime numbers, they're gonna be breakable, right? We always hear about quantum supremacy almost every few months or weeks, right? Somebody is achieving a more qubit. So if they're able to break those prime number factorization problem and they are able to achieve that, it's very near future that those certificate will be invalid. So you need to keep changing it. Now we're doing it every year because this most powerful computer in the year will take more than a year to break those certificate. That's why it is yearly. It will be monthly, and I'm sure it will be daily and hourly in very near future, right? You don't want to
Right.
stop
It
it
can happen.
because
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
rate of thing that's growing, right? So
Yeah.
these things happen. Nice, Ben.
Right. Right.
It's lovely. It's lovely talking to you. I mean, it's so much fun. We should have been face to face maybe next time, maybe tomorrow or later this week or month or wherever in the future you are available. Just give me a shout. We'll
Sure.
schedule a face live to live session. And it
Sure.
was
Yeah.
so much interesting and lovely talking to you. Anything you want to add more? Any call to action for the audience?
I would say keep
We have
learning
spoken about,
and,
yeah. No,
and
no, yeah, we are talking about,
keep motivated and keep learning. Yeah.
that's the key. Keep
So
motivated. Keep yourself always
yeah,
motivated.
yeah. I mean, most of the times, what happens, we are self-motivated. I mean, we know, but sometimes it's good to be a participant in such kind of podcast that gives you a lot of insight, actually. So when I was learning things, I used to watch a lot of podcasts in GCP and Azure. So that gives me a lot of inspiration, an instantaneous boost. You would say, okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I will start learning from today. So these kinds
Yeah,
of
and it is,
podcasts,
yeah,
help,
and it is such a
for
low hanging
beginners.
fruit, right? It is such a
Yeah,
low hanging fruit.
yeah,
It is always
yeah,
there. So good.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
are almost at the end of the show,
mhm,
and
yeah,
I have
yeah.
started this recently, where I add a cultural bit to the show, and so I'm not gonna ask you this time. I'll make a change, and I will try to. I have started
Sure, sure.
learning tabla myself, so let me see if I can show. I didn't learn a lot, so it's not that I have learned all the bowls of tabla. It is only few bowls. First, let me see if you're able to hear it, because sometimes with the mic, right, the Bluetooth, you're not able to hear the noise. So let me know sound. So are you able to hear this?
Yes, yes, I can. Yeah,
You can?
yes, yes, I can hear.
Okay, let me see if I can play. So I just learned few bowls, so I'll just pronounce it, and then I'll play it also. So this is ge ge na na, right? So that's the bowl of tabla. That's the first bowl, few bowls I learned. So I was very excited to show it to someone. And fortunately for me, you are the first guest after I learned this. So
Okay.
good or bad, you need to hear it from myself. So I'll just quickly play those things. It's a very small bit, so nothing very fancy. I
Hmm.
know Zakir Hussain ji is not with us anymore. He's been an inspiration from, till from my childhood. He plays this. He's a very famous tabla player. I'm sure you might have heard about
Yeah, I
him.
know. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. So I keep telling people that I think he passed away this year, last year only. So
Yeah,
maybe
it was very
if I
shocking
learn,
actually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was. So
So,
we lost a very good talent from India.
mm,
So let me
mm.
see if I can remember those tabla bowl. So it's basically ghe ghe na na, right? So that's how it is. So it's like ghe ghe na na. Is the voice clear?
Yes, it is. It
Okay.
is
So
actually.
the way, yeah, so the way it works is, so this is ghe ghe na na, and then na na thin, right? So and if you play it together, it becomes dha dha din din. So it's like this. This is ta and te. So it's so like this. So this how small piece it is there. So I don't know if it was audible enough for you to hear
You
it.
know, it
If
was
not,
audible and sounded good also actually. Yeah.
yeah. So live it's different. Let me try
Yeah.
to play it without the AirPod, because sometimes
Oh.
sound may come very clear. So because I have experienced that. So let me try one more time. So it is ghe ghe na na. So like, and if you play ghe and na, so this is ghe, right? Ghe ghe, and this is na na. And if you play this together, right, it becomes dha. So it's dha dha din. So dha dha din dha, dha dha din dha, like this. So that's a few.
Good,
I'm
good.
trying to learn the new teen tal also, but I
Okay.
have not fully learned it. So I'm not showcasing that. Otherwise, I'll just become
No, no,
famous.
it's good.
So
Good,
so
good,
I
good
keep
actually.
telling, so I keep telling people, always try to learn something new, come out of your comfort zone, because we have been living comfortably in our comfort zone. So that is good only for nothing. So you have to come out of it.
Otherwise it will be very difficult. So always, and learning new thing always, keeps your mind on edge, right? And you're feeding your body, right? Similarly, you have to feed your brain also. You need to make sure that your brain always gets something new. And if you see the neural network design, right? Similarly, our neural networks, they need new connections, otherwise it's gonna become stale, it's gonna break things, right? You'll have memory problem, you'll have this problem. So always try
Mm.
to make sure you're trying to build new connection when it comes to learning new things or meeting new people, great people like you, or eating new food, or going to new places. Live your life. Anand movie का dialogue है, जिंदगी बड़ी होनी चाहिए, लंबी नहीं. It doesn't have to be like
Right, yeah.
always king size, but from your perspective, try to make it big, or beautiful, that you enjoy things, right? That's
Mm.
crucial, because if you don't do that, right, then you become very stagnant and mundane. And we saw what happens to stagnant and mundane tasks. It gets automated. So don't be yourself. Like that. Make sure you are dynamic. You have that ability to learn new stuff, and you always keep on going and going, because that's how you will learn new stuff. Because tomorrow something new will come in, right? So that's how life is. What do you think about that?
I totally agree with you. It makes you more socially acceptable person. Nobody likes boring and mundane people, someone keeps talking about the same subject. So sometimes you have to be, try some different things. Even I have passion for guitar. I used to play few years back, but now I stopped playing that. So I will start again. I was thinking of
किधर है आपका
starting
गिटार,
again.
किधर है?
Guitar तो पास में ही है, but
अरे
don't
तो
ask
एक
me to play right
यार,
now.
you अरे if you
नहीं
don't
अभी
mind, just play one chord, one
नहीं नहीं,
small
वो
chord. I'll
ट्यून
play you.
ट्यून्स
Huh?
वो अभी out of tune है, so I have to tune it actually, so
Achha.
that
I would
takes
not
time
even
actually.
understand
Yeah.
if it is tuned or not. I have ukulele, so
No,
if
man.
you bring if
Next
you
time.
bring guitar, I can bring my ukulele. We can play one small chord, or just one or two chords, if you want. Otherwise, I am fine. We can do this later as well. But it'll be
No,
fun.
करते हैं. Next time करते हैं. So it's just maybe we can make it a series of sessions, for
It'll
GCP
be fun,
or
right?
cloud and other things. Yeah. Yeah.
करेक्ट
Yeah.
करेक्ट करेक्ट सो क्लाउड एंड उसका सीरीज कर सकते हैं. इट्स अ वेरी ब्रिलियंट आइडिया.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that also keeps us on the edge, right? Because you'll have something new to add, some new
Right. Yeah.
certification to showcase, right? That
Mm-hmm.
helps not only in your learning but inspiring others as well. Because when we
Mm-hmm.
also know what's going on, and being in the industry, working on that thing that you're trying to preach is so important, because now people can relate to it, right? क्या अच्छा, हाँ, गूगल क्लाउड सर्टिफिकेशन किया तो ये बंदा ये काम कर रहा है. ही इज एबल टू
Mm-hmm.
deliver things faster. He is able to
Mm-hmm.
make more money for his organization, right? So आप you're inspiring a lot of young generation as well, कि boss, these things are valuable, you should know this, है ना? and
Yeah.
and what we are also trying to say is, okay, now you have learned something like a configuration language. Don't skip out on the basics, it's important, right? आपका पूरा network layer, OSI layer समझना भी जरूरी है, right? That APST NDP, application layer, protocol, presentation layer, session layer, session, ST transport layer, network layer, physical layer तक जाओ. physical layer यूज नहीं आएगा, बट अगर किसी ने आपका प्लग निकाल दिया नेटवर्क का, तो वो फिजिकल लेयर गया ना. इसलिए नो,
Right,
you should
yeah.
know this. And for
Yeah.
security it is so important. I remember somebody was working on security posture and governance. They talk about so many things, and when they ask a question, what about the physical security, and nobody has an answer. That's important. आपने सब कुछ
Right.
secure किया, but if somebody can enter your data center, remove your hard drive, then what's the point? Right? So having the
Yeah.
360-degree approach is so crucial, and that's where
Right.
maturity and understanding comes in, right?
Right. The whole thing is that whatever you are thinking for your interest, you have to act it, I think. So if you are thinking about learning cloud, so start acting on it. So don't
Correct.
keep thinking about it. So that is
Ah,
the biggest thing actually.
Yeah, it is.
So
It is very biggest
yeah,
thing. I was
yeah, sure.
speaking to one of the guests. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I just remember this. I didn't want to lose that thought. That she was telling me, ki boss, that end to end implementation is so important, even if you do it for a small thing, right? And I said, yes, I totally resonate with that, right? आपको कुछ idea आया है, just don't do ideating because everybody is
Mm,
doing ideating now. It's very easy. आप जनरेटिव एआई को बोलो, वो आपके लिए आइडिएट करके 10 आइडियाज दे देगा. But the point is not ideating. The point is not developing a small tool. Develop something end to end. Give it to people to use it because then you will know the real life scenario, है ना?
right. Yeah, that is
तो
important. Yeah.
कितना जरूरी है गेटिंग रियल लाइफ
Mm,
फीडबैक. आप कैसे कैसे उसको एंड टू एंड इम्प्लीमेंट करते हो. आई वाज टॉकिंग टू वन ऑफ द कॉलेज स्टूडेंट एज वेल एंड शी बिल्ड अ स्मॉल प्रोजेक्ट एंड उसपे कुछ बेसिक
mm,
इनपुट्स आई गेव एंड शी वाज लाइक ओ माय गॉड दिस इज सो क्रिटिकल. आई एम लाइक यस. सो आप लोगों को दो. If you're developing something, make them use it. Get that, align yourself with the right kind of audience who can help you out. उसको एंड टू एंड करो. डोंट जस्ट डू वन एस्पेक्ट बिकॉज सिर्फ बैक एंड करना या सिर्फ फ्रंट एंड करना सिर्फ मिडल लेयर करना, दैट्स नॉट गोना वर्क आउट, राइट? आपको फुल स्टैक करना ही है बिकॉज दैट्स वेयर यू विल लर्न द एंटायर थिंग. स्पेशलाइजेशन इज important, right? But now it's an information age. सब कुछ information is available. You can learn new things pretty much
mm.
for free. So don't get stuck on one thing. Have that end-to-end coverage perspective because there's so much value to add, for the entire generation, and everybody has an ability to contribute. I've never met anyone who doesn't have an ability to contribute. किसी न किसी के पास कुछ ना कुछ आउट ऑफ द
Right.
वर्ल्ड
Yeah.
टैलेंट होता है, सिर्फ उसको पता नहीं है. So
Right.
ah, that is there. Good man.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you were thinking that कैसे हम 6 मिनट बात करेंगे and we spoke almost more than 60 minutes. So
Yeah, I think
that's
that's gonna be.
how fun. That's how things goes, right?
Yeah. So
हम
yeah,
तीन
it's
हम तीन दोस्त जब मिल गए वैसा हो गया ना, तुम मैं और ऑनलाइन कम्युनिटी.
right. Yeah.
वो वाली बात हो
Yeah.
गई. Good.
Yes.
Chalo, let's catch up. I think we'll end the stream. Let's catch up sometime later for either face-to-face session or we can discuss about the series. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna end the stream now. Thank you all who joined.
Uh,
We're gonna see this live later. We'll definitely connect again. Let me click on end stream.
all right then. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Yeah.